Shalom, Mashpakas. Today I'd like to talk about the Thyatira churches, assemblies, and ministries. These are compromised, tolerant places that have severe internal corruption. The letter of Thyatira is the longest of these churches. Despite being the least significant city of the group, we see this in Chazon, which is Revelation 2:18-29. And that reads, "And unto the angel of the called out assembly in Thyatira write, These things saith the Son of Elohim, who has his eyes like unto a flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass. I know your works, and love, and service, and faith, and your patience, and your works, and the last to be more than the first. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against you, because you suffer that woman Jezebel, which calls herself a prophetess, to teach and seduce my servants to commit fornication, and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. And I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit fornication with her into a great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds, and I will kill her children with death. And all the called out assemblies shall know that I am he which searches the minds and hearts, and I will give unto every one of you according to your works. But unto you I say, and unto the rest in Thyatira, as many as have not this doctrine, and which have not known the depths of Satan, as they speak, I will put upon you no other burden. But that which ye already hold fast till I come, and he that overcomes and guards my works until the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter, they shall be broken to shivers, even as I received my Father, and I will give him the morning star. He that has an ear, let them hear what the Ruach says unto the called out assemblies." See, the commendation, Yahusha noticed the church for its love, faith, and service. Yahusha specifically noted that their latter works exceeded the first, meaning they were growing rather than stagnating. And let's talk about the corruption. The primary rebuke is the tolerance of the Jezebel, a woman who called herself prophetess but led believers into sexual immorality and the eating of food sacrificed to idols. The next is a threat. Yahusha warns them of severe judgment, sickness, and death for those who follow her deep things of Hashatan, unless they repent. I was on YouTube one day about to do a video and post it, and I seen on my feed a video about a church whose pastor had the Ahab spirit, and his wife who had the Jezebel spirit. This pastor's wife was wearing a transparent dress that was skin tight. This shows a sign of the demonic influence that uses seduction, manipulation, and rebellion to usurp authority and lead the sheep into a spiritual and physical immorality. Now let's look at the seduction as a weapon. This exposure of wearing a transparent or highly provocative clothing is seen as a manifestation of a seductive spirit intended to distract the congregation and incite lust. Here's the rebellion of the standards. It represents a refusal to submit to biblical mandates for modesty and a desire to draw attention to oneself rather than to Yahuwah, as seen in 1 Timothy 2:9. This reads, "In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with braided hair or gold or pearls or costly array." Then we look at control through the appearance. A person who uses one's looks to gain favor or power within the church is a hallmark of this spirit's manipulative nature. Now it's time to talk about the pastor. Now the pastor, he had the Ahab spirit. The Ahab spirit describes a leader who is spiritually passive and avoids conflicts and passively denounces his God-given authority. This is why we saw that pastor allow his wife to wear that. Let's look at the tolerating the evil. Just as King Ahab allowed Jezebel to lead Israel into idolatry, the Ahab spirited pastor tolerated immodesty and ungodly behavior in his church. Let's review abdication of the headship. This spirit is seen as a failure of the pastor to lead his household well, which is a biblical requirement for an assembly or ministry, seen in 1 Timothy 3:4-5. And this reads, "One that rules well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the called out assembly of Elohim?" Then we have the fear of men. The pastor might be driven by fear of rejection or a desire to keep his sheep at the expense of his spiritual holiness and truth. This is why we need to avoid people being people pleasers. If you are a pastor and you please the members of your church and have that desire more than desiring to please the Most High, you are in error. Now, the lessons and spiritual implications from this are: 1. Shared responsibility. The two spirits are often viewed as codependent. Ahab passivity provides the vacancy of authority that Jezebel occupies. 2. Impact on the congregation. When leadership compromises on the standards of modesty, it can lead the congregation towards spiritual harlotry and a breakdown of biblical holiness. And 3. The biblical modesty. Leaders are encouraged to view their bodies as temples of the Ruach HaKodesh, ensuring their outward appearance reflects their inward devotion and avoids being a stumbling block to others. Because when leadership fails at the head, it will cause the glory of Yahuwah to depart from the church, assembly, or ministry and lead to a widespread spiritual compromise. So I pray this was an edifying video for all of us, family, especially as we continue to examine ourselves. Peace be with you all. Shalom.